Okay, so you scanned your vehicle because of rough running, check engine light flashing. You determined that it's a misfire code. On these 1.8 turbos, it's most likely, I would say 90% of the time, it's usually an ignition coil that's faulty. So you just want to mark them 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 1 is always at the timing belt end, and then obviously 2, 3, and 4 following. So if let's say, well, in this case, basically I had a misfire on cylinder number 3, and so what I'm doing here is I wanted to have a look at the spark plug on number 3 just to make sure it's not a spark plug issue. And then if it's not a spark plug issue, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap one of the coils and then see if the misfire follows in terms of going through the different cylinder. If it does, then that verifies that the ignition coil is bad. Like I said, usually about 90% of the time, maybe even more than that, it's usually the coil. So you can always just go ahead and replace the coil, especially when they're still the stock original ones. They fail quite often. Usually we tell the customer, they're like light bulbs. One's going to go, the other ones aren't far behind, and we sell all coils. To some it might seem overkill. Others, they understand that they don't want to come back within 3 months when the other coil fails, or another 3 months after that when the next coil fails. So replacing all of them can be of a good idea. So anyways, I usually swap 1 and 3. I don't know why. It could be 3 and 2, 3 and 4. Doesn't really matter. So here I'm just blowing out the debris that's in the spark plug passage in the hole, and because you don't want to take out the spark plug and have any debris fall into the cylinder that could scuff the cylinder walls. Spark plug socket, obviously, that's straightforward. This one's got a magnet on the end. Usually they just have a rubber liner that grabs onto the spark plug and holds the spark plug. So the spark plug in this case actually looks pretty good. The misfire only occurred while under load. I think it data logged it. I might add that to the end of the video, where you can see that under acceleration, actually it only data logged cylinders 1 to 4. It doesn't actually show RPM, but every time it would misfire is under load, under boost. And then, like I said, because the spark plug in this case was good, just put it back in, and then I ended up swapping the ignition coils. And obviously, well, I can give it away, I guess. The misfire did follow, so the misfire was then number 1 cylinder, because number 3 coil is now in place of number 1, as you can see. So that verified that the misfire was due to the ignition coil, and we ended up selling that one ignition coil. It's obviously a little bit more time involved because of the second test drive, but you want to obviously confirm, oh yeah, when the engine's warm, that transfers over to the coils as well. And that's again why these coils fail so often, because they have to deal with this kind of heat that these engines put out. If it was a remote mounted coil, which actually some guys do, they mount coils away from the engine and then run spark plug wires to the spark plugs, and those coils will obviously not fail because there's no heat, that they're no longer seeing that heat that these coils do. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop talking here. Everything else is straightforward, just a little torque screw. Don't know, sorry, what size it is, but if you buy a torque screwdriver set, it usually comes with all the sizes that are quite common. So yeah, misfire due to ignition coil, again, quite common on these engines. Okay, so here's the data logging of the Audi before I swapped the coils. So you see channel 1, 2, 3, 4 is out of frame, but number 3 is ignition coil number 3, and you can see here the ramp here and the ramp here. So 0 misfires. Then we had about 9 misfires. Actually, let's just run this. I can press play here. So as time goes on, here I am accelerating, and you can see the counter then going up. Where is the counter? Actually, it's also out of frame. It's up at 6 right now. It's maintaining 6 in memory. Just cruising again here or idling. Again, there's no RPM signal here or load signal. I was using expert mode in my Solus Ultra, and since it just has room to data log 4 parameters, it was data logging cylinder 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here we go, accelerating again, and it went from 6, 7, 8, then it's 9. I'm just looking off view here, 12, 14, 15, and 16, 17. So here is 17 now, which is just under the 20 here, obviously. And then again, no load here, regular acceleration, normal driving, and then some more, and up to 24, as you can see here. So this verified that the misfire was on cylinder number 3. Okay, here's the number or second test drive with this coil swapped, and you can see right here, let me just get it running. Press play. So as I'm driving along, accelerating, you'll see number 2 and number 3 staying normally flatlined, 0 misfire counts, and then number 1 will start to count here under acceleration up to about 10, and then I'm holding steady throttle here again, no real load, and then under accelerating again it misfired some more. So again, this all verifies that the ignition coil is bad and needs to be replaced. Had the misfire stayed in number 3 cylinder, then I would have had to reinvestigate the spark plug that I had looked at or do a compression test. There's no real need to do a compression test when the misfire is not set at idle. If the engine idles smoothly, there should be no reason to check compression. If it had been a hard misfire, even at idle, it could still be a dead coil. Or a spark plug issue, or even a compression issue, in which case then obviously I would still eliminate everything. If it was misfire at idle, I would have still swapped coils 1 and 3, or 3 and 2, 3 and 4, just to see if the misfire at idle also moves to a different cylinder. Had it moved to another cylinder, again that coil would have been completely dead, not working. And in this case here, obviously, since it moved to number 1 cylinder, the coil was setting a code only under load. Again, it's failing. It can't handle the stress of the higher demand of ignition, and that's why it was misfiring. Using a lab scope or multimeter, you could probably do some investigating too and seeing the ignition pattern, primary or secondary. But again, this is for the regular user here, non-mechanic, just swapping the coil and using a scan tool to see if the code changes from one cylinder to the next. This is an easy way to eliminate a coil as a suspect.